Back out, Green. Cross-court Curry. Another three-pointer. Trying to draw a foul. He knocks it down. The Dallas has 70 again. Curry puts it in. Steph Curry from downtown. Curry way downtown. Bang! Steph Curry from just inside half court. Curry now, as the lead is cut to 1, has 41 points.
This is Stephen Curry, and he is currently 32 years old, going on 33 years old in 1 month. Stephen Curry is a 2-time MVP in the past, with one of those MVPs being the only unanimous MVP in NBA history. And this is me saying that he right now is better than that season. And at first, I know you may be thinking, like, how can that even be possible? But when you just look at how he's playing this year compared to what he was doing in 2016, combined with not having your second best player and having probably the worst spacing that you ever had in your prime, I think it becomes pretty apparent that this might be the best version of Steph that we've ever seen. Simply because of the fact that he's just stronger than he was back then, he's smarter, he plays off ball better, he plays on ball better, he has more moves, he seems to have no problem getting his space to put up a shot. Like, I can't believe what I'm looking at. So the video that I was gonna make, which I didn't want to have to make, was about this game that ended like this. And in that video I was gonna ask, is it time to worry about the Golden State Warriors? And then Steph comes out and drops an effortless 32 points in 3 quarters that didn't even feel like 32 points. And I feel like that's like the biggest thing right now, is that he's putting up these numbers and it's just so easy for him. Because Steph Curry in the last game just put up 32 points on 11 for 20. And in the last game, he put up also 32 points on 10 for 17. And then the game before that, he put up 57 points and hit 11 threes. Like, I think I said during that Mavericks game, I was like, I've never seen this dude this hot before. And I think that just shows the type of season that he's having right now. Because coming into the season, he had gotten close to his career high, but he was never able to beat it since 2013. He got 51 a handful of times. He had 53 against the Pelicans a couple years ago, but he never was able to break 54. This season, he's already broken 54 twice, and we're a quarter of the way into the season. He has a 57 and a 62. And when you think about the fact that he's doing this when he's about to turn 33 years old, yeah. And then that combined with everything that I mentioned earlier with, you know, not having your second best player, with the lack of spacing that you've had for the past however many seasons, while having Kelly Oubre on your team. Like, I feel like what he's doing this season, if he's able to keep it up, might be more impressive than what he was able to do in 2016 because of all those factors. Like, he doesn't have the perfect team around him. He doesn't have that luxury of not having to worry anymore about your bench losing the lead when you go to the bench. Like, all those things are gone, and he's still putting up these ridiculous numbers. So this season, Stephen Curry is averaging 29.6 points, and he is shooting 48.4% from the field, 43% from 3, and 94% on free throws. Which, if you look at those numbers compared to his unanimous MVP season, you start to see the picture and start to get an idea of what he's actually been doing this year. Because another thing to keep in mind is what I mentioned earlier, which is the age that he's doing this at. In this stat posted by ESPN, Steph Curry has scored 741 points this season. Only Michael Jordan has scored more through his team's first 25 games at age 32 or older in NBA history. So, yeah, I think that kind of demonstrates what we're actually seeing right now. And the problem that I have is that no matter what he seems to do, we are not seeing him come up in MVP discussions at all. Like, this is the MVP race on Basketball Reference, which is, you can take it with a grain of salt because, I mean, stats largely go into this and it's like kind of automatically calculated, so I don't really pay attention to this too much. But this is also the NBA.com's MVP race, which is actually voted on by people. And, yeah. There's a bit of a problem here because we have Jokic up here at number 3, which I personally don't have a problem with. The problem is that a lot of people I've been seeing on various social medias and, things like that have been saying that Jokic is their MVP, which again, I have no problem with, but then they turn around and say that Steph can't be MVP because the Warriors don't have the record for it. If that was the case, then why is Jokic your MVP? The Golden State Warriors right now are 13-12, which is good for 9th in the West. The Denver Nuggets, however, are 12-11, which is good for 8th in the West. So I ask again, how can Jokic possibly be your MVP when he doesn't even qualify under the criteria that you set? The MVP race, I talked about this in my live stream the other night, and I posted a clip of it on Twitter. You might have seen it, you might have not. I might post a shortened clip of it here. Curry and it's all narratives. Like, that's all the MVP race is. And they change the narratives year by year. Because it's like, oh, you gotta have X amount of wins in order to win MVP. We can't have average teams winning MVP. And then they give Westbrook the MVP. Well, that's different. Because, the KD... And, I admit that Westbrook was the MVP, but you can't just change your entire perception on what an MVP is for one season. We literally have people in the media that are voting on these that say they are driven by narratives to make their votes. Like, how does that make sense? Like, I agree that narratives play some role in the MVP race, but they're not the entire story, and they shouldn't. A narrative shouldn't be the sole reason that you pick one person over somebody else. And so yeah, basically what I was trying to say there, I guess, is that every MVP race is bound to have some sort of narrative thrown into it. Whether it makes sense or doesn't, it's always gonna happen. And that's like the one thing that we can count on every single time. Some of these races are going to be narrative driven. And we see that with, okay, I'm not even gonna go there because I already made an entire video about it. But LeBron is currently leading the top of the MVP race once again, even a month later. But I think I said it in that video where picking MVPs 20 games into the season is just so dumb, because you have to think, I don't even think Golden State has played against every team in the league yet. So when you think about it like that, like, how can we possibly say that this person deserves MVP over someone else when we don't even know what the teams are going to look like? We don't even know what the records are going to look like, what the standings are going to look like even 1 week from now. Like, it could be completely different. And so picking MVPs 25 games into the season is just, I never understood that, because I think I said it in the other video too, where strength of schedule is going to impact your record a lot to start the season. And especially, a quarter into the season, or, 15 or 20 games into the season, which is what we're at right now. And so I don't think it's necessarily fair to bring records into MVP discussions, but I also don't think that it's necessary to have an MVP discussion until at least All-Star break, because that's over halfway through the season. That's past the trade deadline. That's when a lot of teams are set for whatever they're going to be doing, whether it's playoffs or, tanking. Well, if we're talking about MVPs and MVP candidates, then, set for the playoffs. So I just don't think that it's right to make these kinds of decisions this early on in the season. Like, we're still in February in a season that started 3 days before Christmas. Like, we're not even 2 months into the season yet. And so yeah. However, I do think that when that time eventually comes, Steph Curry deserves to be in that conversation. Because, like I said, I believe I said this in the Damian Lillard versus Steph Curry video, I said that people have forgotten just how good Steph Curry actually is. Because if you remember, we had people at the start of the season saying the wildest things after they got beat by the two best teams in the Eastern Conference back to back. Like, people were legitimately ready to invalidate everything that Steph Curry had done in his entire 12-year career because of 2 games at the start of the season. Like, there were people legitimately saying that a Sacramento Kings game was a legacy game for Steph Curry, a Sacramento Kings game in January. Like, what are we doing, bro? And so, yeah, that's kind of like the other side of the spectrum in recency bias, but I want to know what you guys think about what Steph Curry has been doing. Do you think that he can actually win MVP? And do you think that this is the best that you've ever seen him? Let me know what you think. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new, hit the bell to be notified when I upload, comment down below what you want to see next, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.